Well, he said we didn't. Depending on
Thank you very much. We'll start off. Elliot Lehman is our Cub Master Boy Scout pack. He's going to lead us in the invocation and then the pledge, please. So if you'll please stand.
If you please bow your heads for the invocation. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, and may your grace cover this meeting. We pray that all voices will be heard, and this will be a safe place for people to express their opinions. Please help guide our community leaders and the decisions they make. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Then I'm just going to give some notes about the troop. You can all be seated. I'm going to start off with. Okay, that was loud. I'm going to start off with the troop, with all of our middle schoolers and high schoolers that are actively enrolled. We've had a lot of rank advancement recently. Our younger boys have been ranking up a lot, and we have 2 boys who are about to finish their Eagle Scout projects, and I also finished my Eagle Scout in early December, so I haven't gotten the patch or card in the mail yet, but I'm an Eagle Scout now. That's pretty much all we've been doing for the older boys. We took a break off for the holiday season. Our elementary schoolers, recently the 4th and 5th graders, they competed against 90 other teams in a project contest, and they came in 4th place the past out of 90. There'll also be in a fishing tournament on January 21st, and there will be a Pinewood Derby on February 10th down at the maintenance building, which for anyone who doesn't know, they carve little cars and then race them down a metal track, and the winner gets like a trophy and prizes. This year's renewal is going to be the 48th year for the troop and 44th year for the younger boys being chartered under the city of Morgan's Point. We'd just like to thank the community and the council for that. Thank you.
Congratulations. Way to go. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Before we get to citizens' comments, we do have a gentleman here that's running for office. I'd like to introduce him. Bill, would you please stand up and show your face? Bill Cook. And would you like to make a comment or two? I know you said you didn't want to, but come on.
I told the mayor that I'm not here to try to be political. I just want to meet all the citizens and all the city council persons here tonight to make sure that, you're behind you any way that we can help. I'd let you know, y'all have one of the finest police departments, fire departments.
We think so. You bet. Okay, this is the opportunity for members of the public to suggest additional topics for the discussion or to address topics of interest to the council. We will not be able to respond to any of your questions unless the matter has been posted on the agenda. And so please limit your comments to 3 minutes. I would appreciate it. Right now, I have 2 folks signed up. We will start with Tammy Day. You'll please step up to the podium and state your name and address.
My name's Tammy Day, and I've lived in Morgan's Point since 2016. My first residence was on Robin Circle, and I currently live on 28 South Sherwood. When I sold my first residence, I wouldn't live anywhere else but Morgan's Point, and I'm here today to address an issue with leash law and loose dogs in the area that I live in close to Sherwood Drive. This is my grand dog, Nala, and we've been chased about 6 times in the last month. 2 times in 1 week by a German Shepherd. I've been tried to be bitten on the heels when I'm running because I do 5K runs for charity. By the way, I work on contract for Bell County. I'm a therapist and I work with mental health and substance abuse. So I feel a little traumatized by the incidents that have been happening in the community. It's been on the community page. There's been some bullying back and forth about it being a problem and that it shouldn't be an issue. However, there was a gentleman who was walking close to me in his 80s, and if that German Shepherd would have jumped on him, as frail as he would have ended up having a medical consequence for that. It wasn't just that the German Shepherd chased after us, which this German Shepherd in particularly opened the door, the storm door, to get out. It had happened twice. I addressed it with the owner. The owner was very reluctant to even come and get her dog. She just was saying from her driveway, come here, and that was it. And the dog was chasing us up the street. The other incident that I had off of Sherwood was 2 incidences with my next door neighbor where a dog jumped the fence and chased after us. And of course, my grand dog is protective of me. She's loyal, okay? My daughter doesn't have any kids. This is her child. And so I love this dog more than anything. She's 8 years old, but she is protective. She's jumping on my back now when we walk outside because she's scared. So she's going through some anxieties with these incidences. Okay, so the incident of the dog jumping the fence, there was something inappropriate said on Facebook that the owner of this dog wanted to kill their dog. So I contacted Morgan's Point Police about that incident. There was another incident happen really close to that because the dog was still not leashed, still not chained, jumped the fence. There was a lady in Morgan's Point who's elderly, and she now carries a mag light because she's scared that that dog or any other dog is going to come after her. At the same home, I had an incident 3 days ago. I got really upset and said, you know, this has happened like more than 5 times in Morgan's Point. You can't even walk your dog. It was a visitor of my neighbors who didn't have their dog on a leash. They were putting it in the car, and the parents didn't respond. The adults, there was kids, and I said, where's your parents? You need to get your dog because our dog started scuffling. And so what people don't think is aggressive can become aggressive. I know I'm at the 3 minutes, but this is really, I spoke with Joelle Guzman. She has the same thoughts that I do about this. It's happened to her. There's been I did a survey on the Morgan's Point page, if you need me to print it out. It's an issue. We asked how many people have been exposed to aggressive or loose dogs in the neighborhoods. And so I'm hoping that City Council, me getting this on record, that we can do something about this because we do have an elderly population in the community that I'm concerned about. I can maybe necessarily fight off a dog, but I cannot fight off a bully breed. And so that's a concern for me. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, Donna.
Donna Hartman, 112 Great West Loop. Well, first I want to wish everybody Happy New Year's to our residents and our staff and our council. I think 2024 is going to be an exciting year. I'm all excited for it. And the only thing I wanted to say is if you notice, I'm in blue, police officers, because today is National Police Appreciation Day. So I just wanted to say publicly how very much you're appreciated, and I wanted to echo Bill Cook's sentiments. We have a fantastic police department. So thank you. We appreciate you very much.
I thought every day was Officer Appreciation Day. If you want to get it down to one day, congratulations, guys. Thank y'all. Okay, moving right along. First thing on the agenda is the consent agenda, which has to do with the minutes, approval of the minutes from the December 12th and December 22nd special sessions. Do I hear a motion to discuss and consider those two, the consent agenda?
So moved. I move that we discuss and consider the consent agenda.
Y'all want to discuss it?
I just have a question. So I can review the minutes of the 12th because I was there, but then there was a special session I wasn't able to attend, and that's on the consent. So I don't know if I can approve them if I wasn't there. That's just a question. I have no idea.
I think you could approve them if, even though you weren't there, because you can have access to them online or on, you can read them. But,
Note in the minutes, just note in the minutes that you abstained from approval of those.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
yeah, and you're talking about the special meeting where there were only 3 of us,
Right.
where people couldn't even see, because we had some technical issues. Yeah,
Short and sweet.
yeah, so there were only 3 council members, so would we need to?
Wasn't you or me. So there's only 2 here to approve.
Well, if to approve, we abstain, that should be fine, right?
Yeah, because we have quorum.
Yeah, because we have quorum, yep.
My understanding, and of course I'll defer to Neil, is Robert Rules of Order, everybody, even if you weren't at the meeting, should approve the minutes because they solidify the action that was taken at the meeting.
I see. Okay,
Okay,
well, I
all
can
right.
definitely solidify the action that was taken. Okay.
So I move we accept the consent agenda.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Do we need a second?
Oh, I thought you were second.
I'll second. You can.
I'm sorry, I put the cart before the horse. I'm sorry, Jimbo.
No, you're good, sir.
Okay, going on to committee reports. Ryan, I guess that's gonna be your specialty tonight.
As we typically do, the committee reports have all been included in your packet. If anybody has a report that they would like to mention anything that, or any special events that are upcoming, please feel free to make a notification. If not, those items were included in the digital copy, not the print copy. If you need a print copy of those, please let me know, but we did that to save paper. Saves about 40 sheets of paper, just FYI.
I think there are a couple of things I would like to hear, like the library has something coming up as a meeting this month. If you wouldn't mind just telling us about that.
Pam Robinson, Mary Ruth Briggs Library Chairperson. We do have a meeting of the Elder Explorers at the Point, January 25th, and our speaker will be Roxanne Stryker, who is going to be talking to us on diabetes, and we will possibly
Self-serving?
play bingo afterwards. So everyone's invited. You don't have to be an elder.
Thanks.
Thank you, Pam.
I have a question for Parks and Rec. Do you have anything to report?
I don't yet. We haven't had our first meeting yet. We are working on getting everybody notified, and hopefully by the end of January, we'll have a report for February
Okay.
meeting.
And planning and zoning, was there no report? I didn't get a report, even electronically? Okay, there may not be one. I was just asking. Okay.
We do not have a report because we have not met since our last city council meeting. But we
Okay.
will meet January 23rd.
And we'll be there.
Yes.
Thanks. And then another one, when I read through the EDC report, she gave us an annual review of the whole year. There were several things in there that I thought were worth mentioning in public for anybody who doesn't happen to read that. Would you mind coming up, Linda, or can I would rather you came up and just kind of did your highlights.
It was really great, Linda. It's really great.
It was
Yeah, it was great.
very thorough and well thought out, and lots of things going on there that are trying to really work what's best for the city. And I think because it was an annual summary, I would like to hear it.
And it was a summary, but it had a lot of meat in it, had a lot of detail.
Okay, I wasn't prepared for this, but basically, we worked on wastewater solution. So we are participating in the Temple Farm to Market 2483 master plan. And so we're about halfway through on that. We've been working with Texas A&M Central Texas to help us with identifying the best businesses if we ever do get a place to put them. We also had a community profile done by HDL companies, and they gave us a gap report. It's based on 15 minutes from Morgan's Point, so they figure you can drive 15 minutes without pain. The other thing is that we have a Discover Morgan's Point Facebook page and a business network group that we promote our businesses, which most people think it's only the 10 businesses out in the commercial district, but I've identified at least 35 businesses. We also we're involved with the elders new group in some of our businesses, Firefly Yoga and Priority Charter Schools. They've been helping us with our farmers market, and we are on a second year of the food truck project. It's not very successful. So we've either not found the right truck, they're not consistent, they're not a place to go where there's shade to sit down, that type of thing. And to be honest, most of the best trucks have found a busier corner. So that's our problem there. A big thing that's happened over the last year, and that was basically getting our corporation in order. And we made a couple of changes where we changed the residency for an EDC director. It now follows the state guidelines. And then we just became a 501c4. The reason why we didn't go with a 3 is because we didn't feel we were a charity. A 4 is pretty much a catch-all. A 6, a lot of people or corporations go with a 6, but that's more like a business association, and that's not what we are. We're community-oriented. The other thing is we've changed our focus to try to maximize the assets of the city, which will try to promote the events center, try to do things that will bring in some other kind of income. So that's our focus for this coming year.
Great. Thank you very much. That's very thorough.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Come
a long way.
Yeah, when I read that, I just thought
Come a long way.
about it a little bit, yeah. I also looked at your website, the mpr-edc.org, and when I went to look for businesses, there's a list a mile long of all different categories and things. So very nice. The website is easy to navigate and very good. So I just wanted to comment on that. So, thank you.
Okay, moving along, anything, Matt, do you want to do something for the police department? Do you want to do that, or you want to do your presentation for your staff? Time.
I think this is just the reports.
For committee. Well, on Ladies Auxiliary, I was going to just comment that they're doing that Cops and Robbers 5K run on April 13, so 8:30. So I thought that was something we should note.
Start training, Jimbo.
What's that? What'd you say?
Start training.
Oh, yeah, you have time.
I'm gonna hand
Same. So yeah, the next portion is the departmental reports. Of course, those are all also included in the packet. But I, of course, would invite anybody from, if we're going in order, maintenance, then fire, anybody that'd like to come up and speak to anything specific to the fire department that's not in the presentations.
Finance.
The finance, Carrie, you have anything?
I'll email you all I have some hard copies, but I'll email you my copies
Okay.
tomorrow.
Anybody from the marina?
Ronnie's not here. And then we had the water department, code enforcement. You'll notice there's not a report included because he was on vacation. And then police department report. If the chief would like to come up and say anything about his report.
All right, let me get it from Oompa Loompa mode. Here we go. So I believe that there might be some questions concerning our report. So one question that I think that arose was the increase from the double-digit number to the triple-digit number, so to say, of increase in the reserve officer hours. and then maybe the placement of that on the report. So just to clarify that, while the section that it is in on my report is departmental statistics, so it is not really like calls for service related or anything like that. It's just a part of the statistics for the department. We have one reserve officer for the department at the moment. He also is part-time for municipal court only when he is municipal court-related duties. His increase in hours came from his need or our need based off of what he saw. So each time he's come in, most recently, he's seen myself and Sergeant Hodge pretty swamped in our duties. As you know, we've said before, we're getting overwhelmed with administrative work. He has volunteered, again, like I said, he has volunteered his time to come in. He came to me one day. He asked Sergeant Hodge the same thing. What can we do? What can he do to help us out? My response to him was, unless you can be here 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, sit at that office and help people that walk in the door and do other things that we ask of you at the time, there's not much you could do. And his response was, well, I don't know about every day, and so his increase in hours came from that. The point I want to make out to that is he's that public face right now that when you walk in, he's the first person you see. The point I want to make to that is, again, he is a volunteer in that aspect, and we want to make sure that he's not going to get taken advantage of. But at the same time, law enforcement, we work extra jobs. So a lot of our guys work extra jobs. The two officers over there, work extra jobs on their days off. Same thing with our reserve officers. They're limited in their scope of what they can do, but while he's here, that means he's not out there making money for his family. So we want to make sure to point out that administrative workload is still there, even with his help. And again, he's taking money away from his family to come help us because he sees the need. And so we want to reassure that. So that's the increase in hours. Again, one guy. And then, of course, hopefully with Jordan graduating the academy this Friday, that'll boost up to 2. And we'll start seeing some workload and productivity from him. And we always look for reserve officers. So we're also looking maybe to move that placement around on the department report. So maybe retitle it so it doesn't look like it's related to a call or service or anything like that. So we may move it around to maybe personnel later down on the 3rd or 4th page. The other thing that my volunteer administrative assistant wanted me to remind everybody of is Coffee with a Cop coming up to next week. I believe it is the 17th.
How about January?
She said January 17th. Yeah.
October. It's okay. I do that all the time.
Hey, thank you for the update. I know we discussed briefly, and if you could just provide a real brief overview. I know a lot of people probably did see in the news and on the news the pursuit that occurred. If you could just kind of walk the council through our policy and what that looks like.
Yes. So our policies, first of all, we do have a pursuit policy. And our policies that we currently have in place were instituted back in 2017. When we instituted those policies, of course, some have been updated since then and tweaked since then, of course. But since the institution of those policies, we had planned to be a best practice recognized agency. And so when we began with those policies, they're modeled after best practices. So we do have a pursuit policy. Our pursuit policy is any arrestable misdemeanors that are not traffic related. So, if you're normal speeding, you take off, unfortunately, we're going to find you another way eventually, but we will not pursue for traffic related offenses. In this case, it was a criminal offense that was being committed, which subsequently led to following criminal offenses to be committed, which then led into the pursuit and apprehension of the suspect. All the policy was followed, and the post-review, after any pursuit, use of force, we have a post-review that is done. That is currently being, in the process of being finished to make sure that policy is good and everything like that. And so, yes, unfortunately, it did make the news, and we try and stay out of that as much as possible. But, things happen and questions start coming up, and so we released a news media release for that. And if you have any questions.
Good job.
Great job, guys.
Y'all caught her.
That was Officer Boersma right there.
Good job.
Any other questions on my report or anything like that y'all have?
Thank you very much. Going on a presentation? What do you want to do on the
We have fire personnel to present on the eclipse, and I believe they'll probably be a little back and forth with fire and police on the eclipse planning strategies that the city is undertaking for the April eclipse.
So, solar eclipse,
Who are you and what's your address?
Shane Sibley, 6 Lake Forest Drive. So the fire department, along with the police department, we're taking the solar eclipse very seriously. We have gone to several meetings with different agencies in preparation for this event. Like I said, police and fire are going to be working closely together, along with the game wardens, our mutual aid partners. There's some stipulations out there on how things are going to play out, but as of now, we're still in the planning process. Not really sure what's going to happen, but from prior eclipse, there's some preparation levels that we will be going for. Staffing, we were going to be doing an all hands on deck staffing for the fire department. Logistically, we're expecting fuel, groceries to be a very sought after object, just from what we've seen. Oh yeah. Also, tax on the cell phone systems across the county. We're expecting right after the eclipse to have anywhere from 48 to 72 hours of just traffic and people trying to leave. I know for Killeen, we've been working closely with them. They have sold out of every hotel in the city, every single one. So this is something that people are coming from all over. So that's one thing we're keeping a close eye on, is making sure our apparatus are ready, making sure we have the personnel, and making sure we have the supplies that we're going to need. We are expecting there to be a tax on the infrastructure.
What can council do to help, or how do you going to communicate with the residents as to some things that they should?
So, police department and the fire department, we're going to have our own little substation set up to communicate. There's going to be 3 different emergency operations centers set up across the county. Okay. Temple, Belton, and Killeen. So we're going to be working closely with them as we do everything. We'll be in close contact with city manager, passing out what information we can when we have it through the official channels.
So for the police department side, it will be business as usual, except for increase in staff. We've blacked out the 2 days prior and 2 days post of the event. So increase in overtime. There is TML rules about, how much an officer can work. So we don't have the ability to do like a 24-hour schedule based on the staffing, but we will be basically rotating through our personnel as TML rules allow us to do. And so we were also partnered with game wardens and things like that. We will have game wardens in the city, actually at our office, that will be bunking with our guys and the fire department's guys and gals, and so that they can get to their lake and whatever lake expectancies that they have, any issues that they have. We will tell you that right now the plan is to close Oakmont Park and the lower half of the marina. Those are the only parks that have physical gates that we can close, just to limit the issues with camping and loitering and things like that. We are not holding any events, and we are urging other people to not hold any events either. So
Is that day of, or is that 2 ahead, 2 after?
it's probably going to be more of the 24, probably. We expect traffic and whatnot to probably start coming in about 24 hours is kind of roughly what they say pre-event. So we will probably close that 24 hours in advance, and then.
So if they get here before the 24 hours.
And then of course, after the event is over, there's nothing really to watch. So we can open it back up post-event. It's over. It's just the pre-event kind of that we're worried about. People come in to try and set up and whatnot. And we're working closely with Corps of Engineers for them to do the same thing. I believe their plan is to do as much as they can with their areas that they have physical barricades at, and then the ones they don't, to drop physical barricades or temporary physical barricades in some places that aren't really around us. But
So if somebody's there 48 hours in advance at Oakmont, they'll be asked to leave?
yeah. And of
Appreciate
course,
everything. I know you ought to continue to treat this a little bit since it's still a few months away, and there may be some changes. So if there's anything you feel like we need to know, or anything the council can do to help y'all out with anything,
the only thing that we're looking to have is again the stress that from the previous people who've dealt, or previous cities and communities that have dealt with this, is the strain on basically any infrastructure. Your commodities, your food, your beverages, your gas, things like that. And so just to stress that, to just plan ahead, get what you can get. Get what you can get. Don't make a mad dash. It's not an end of world, but make sure your gas tank's filled up, and try not to drive if because traffic is going to be. There are people that follow this event, so traffic will be a congestion and it'll be a problem.
Matt, could
Most
we start
importantly,
posting that on our city website to the citizens, maybe in advance, to hints for the eclipse or something like that? Some deals like that, so they would have a couple of months' notice to prepare.
Yeah.
I didn't think about having gas and stuff like that, but that's a good idea.
Okay, yeah. So we have stuff on the police department side planned. And then just to reiterate too, from what we've heard and experienced, is just like our electrical system in the Texas area, the cell phone system probably in ERCOT probably like work together to bring us like the minimum. So cell phones, if probably are going to have some issues. So just for people trying to get a hold of people, the influx that's going to take a tax on the infrastructure.
It looks like y'all are on top of it with all the other departments, so we appreciate it. I know you're continuing to do that, so like I say, if there's anything, keep us posted, okay?
One thing I will say before I leave is let's not get in a panic about it. We know it's coming. Just expect the excessive people. If you have medications, one of the things that we strongly suggest is trying to get extra, per se, before, a couple weeks before. That way you don't run out with the thousands of people that we're going to have in the area. So, see if y'all have anything else.
Ryan,
Appreciate it,
can
man.
we, I don't have anything specific unless, Matt, you've heard anything. I have not yet. The last powwow we went to, month and a half ago, the only school district that has committed to shutting down classes back then was Killeen. Can we reach out to BISD? Because the issue is going to be with 250,000 people on the roads, our students, our kids are going to be stuck in traffic jams on those buses trying to get home. And that's going to be a huge problem. So
I'm happy to reach out and
Please,
see
sir.
what kind of plans they have in place.
hopefully it's just canceled for the day and let the kids enjoy it.
You haven't heard anything, Stephen, have you, from Temple? Okay.
But even probably don't shut down for something like that.
We'll do the K-9 program presentation. Okay, somebody. I understand now.
Update and what she can do and stuff, so here we go.
Who are you and what's your address?
Michael Nipper, Lake Forest Drive. So some of her capabilities are, she's a detection dog, which she can detect multiple drugs. She can track for suspects, missing people. Apprehension dog, which can apprehend, will be apprehended by us necessarily. Building searches, which we can find people in buildings, hiding under blankets, closets, wherever, attics. She'll most likely find. Evidence searches, she can, on a track or something, if somebody throws a gun off to the side, shells, knives, just whatever a person may have on their person, or area search, you can find, give me a localized area, you can find people as well, in a certain area. And so far, we've helped Belton, Temple, Killeen, Texas Game Wardens, Troy, pretty much every city in the county called for us and we helped. Let's see here. Deployment history, we got about 5 deployments a month. And put that in perspective, Temple does about 8 deployments a month for their K-9 officers. So we're a little bit smaller than Temple, so we're about there. So far, we got 2 arrests with Mia. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have those arrests. We got those with her so far. She assisted in multiple arrests off to the side or wherever. Like pursuit we had the other day, we were off to the side if need be. She could have helped in that. Let's see. What else do we have here? Training, we train mostly with Killeen Police Department, but we also train with Temple and Waco as well.
So Michael, I know that there's like that's having our dog is awesome. Like it's an asset to our community and to our police department. Is there something that we could do as a city council that there's a need for the dog or for you guys in the department to help the dog, facilitate the dog, Nina, I guess, to do better?
Yeah, so far we're doing good right now. We train every Wednesday. Tomorrow we're training with Temple. We start at noon. We're working until midnight training.
Oh wow.
We normally go to schools that are closed, warehouses, buildings, or open fields, woods, wherever. So we're training, and Killeen has a trainer specifically, and he helps us out a whole lot.
Cool. If there's something that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate. Like,
Don't worry, I will.
okay, cool.
And guess of those little packets I gave you, so you can understand kind of a track. The first one I have Temple had a shooting at Hat Trick about the end of December, I think. And people requested us to assist them with the track. And we did so. There's a little narrative down there. And it was about a little over a half a mile track we did. We ended up in the backyard. Didn't find anything, but that's how tracks end sometimes. The second one, there's a map of where we went through. We went through backyards, fences, alleyways, all kind of places there. And the second one, we helped Belton with a carjacking at gunpoint. 2 suspects fled on foot. Belton found the vehicle, and we started to track. The officer saw the individuals ran, and we ended up following them to where they lived, an apartment complex behind Bell Oaks. And if, on the map there, you see the dot. That's where we started. We went to the left to a fence line, went straight up there, crossed the roadway, and took the tree line, went to the back way to the apartments. Technically, we went right to the front door.
Really?
And the last 2 are tracks that we did. The blue is the person that lead the track, and red is Mia. And you can see how Mia followed the track there on both of those. They're always going to be slightly off track because weather affects tracks. Wind blows in certain directions, it blows the track off a little bit. So she's pretty on it when it comes to that. Do you have any questions or anything?
Very impressive. I had no idea.
Well, I can go on all day. I'm trying to keep.
I know she's new, like just in the last couple of years, right? So her first year was training. I mean,
Yeah,
she's in
we went-
training constantly, but.
Yeah, 9 weeks. I went to Houston Canine Academy for 9 weeks. Got out in April of last year.
Oh, okay, so not a year.
So middle of April this year will be our first complete year. Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Appreciate it. Matt, do you want to do one on your staffing?
So, all right, let's get my notes up here. So it didn't make it into the electronic packet, but you should have a physical copy there, and we can update the electronic version later or whatnot if we need be. So I'm here to talk about our police department staffing, mainly specifically kind of what we've done so far within the last 30 days and where we're trying to get to. You know, I came in October for this budget and requested, you know, additional personnel. After, you know, discussing with y'all further, we came to the conclusion that it'd probably be best to ask for non-civilian, more, you know, sworn officer. And so we segued to that, but we ran out of time and we discussed that, revisiting that, you know, come January. So that's kind of where I want to go with this tonight. Within the last 30 days, starting January 1st, we have promoted Kyle Newsom to the rank of sergeant. He's not here tonight. There'll be a formal pinning later. We promoted him to sergeant. This was planned in the 2022-2023 fiscal year, but was not executed because we were short-staffed at that time. And so we weren't able to do that. So we put it back on for this year. So we executed that promotion, like I said, effective January 1st. It financially impacted about almost like $1 short of $3,000, give or take mine and Carrie's math on, you know, benefits and things like that. Mainly my math. He's better at it than me. So with that in mind, our current organizational structure looks as a picture of our current organizational structure there. For the people sitting in the audience, I wish I had a presentation I could give you, but you don't have to turn around that way and squint your eyes really good. But basically it's me, myself, underneath me is Jay Montgomery, our code enforcement animal control. Then it leads down into 2 sergeants, Sergeant Newsom, Sergeant Hodge. Off of that, below that is Corporal Vidro, who heads up our reserve program. Of course, he's the only one in the reserve program at this moment, pending Jordan Richards' graduation this Friday. Then we have two shifts. We have an A shift and a B shift. With our current organizational structure, Sergeant Newsom is on the A shift. He is the 6 to 6 day shift A shift guy. So he is responsible for patrolling during 6 to 6 on his days of the certain days of the week. Along with him are Officer Borsma and Officer Vasquez. And then we have a B shift, which consists of Officer Thompson, Officer McMillan, and Officer Anderson. So basically 3 officers per shift in our current structure. Again, that's with Sergeant Newsom being on a shift. And then we have Canine Handler Nipper, who floats between the 2 shifts, depending on which week it is for that month. So that gives us 9 full-time officers, 1 reserve officer. Our proposed organizational structure, which is the ask for an additional police officer. You'll see the proposed organizational structure changes slightly. So our ask is that we hire an additional police officer. That additional police officer would fill in the spot where Sergeant Newsom currently has for patrol capabilities. That will give him the ability to float between A shift and B shift, effectively overseeing both shifts as a sergeant, so that he can manage both shifts effectively. Like I said, right now he's stuck to 1. Not much changes outside of that, except for the proposed organizational structure going forward would also promote Sergeant Hodge to lieutenant. This will bring us back to the rank structure that we had prior to my appointment as chief of police, but fulfill us with 10 full-time officers, including myself. And then at that time, or this, if this were to go into effect, we'd have at least 2 reserve officers pending Jordan's graduation from the academy this week. So the justification, I said, I came to budget negotiations or meetings, workshops, slayings, I was going to do the canine presentation after this, depending on the feedback, where we bring the dog in. But and all joking aside, the justification for the additional police officer is quite there. So right now we'll start out with our master plan that we currently operate under, which, I know we're working toward another new master plan, but I know we won't go backwards in time. I'm hoping anyway. So the current master plan that we work off of says 1 officer per every 500 residents. If we're being conservative, we have 5,000 residents. That equals 10 officers. Right now, again, we have 9 full-time. Based on FBI statistics, FBI states that we should probably have 2.4 officers for every 1,000. Again, being conservative on population, 5,000, that says we should probably have the last 12 officers. And then I don't like to use them, but in this case, they're actually helpful. So defund the police, an organization, soul's goal is to help.
Please don't quote them.
The organization sets out to help, cities, manage their police departments more realistic and not overinflate them. They believe and are right down comparatively sized. We should have between 9 and 11 officers. And then with a caveat, 3 civilian personnel. So that's not included in there, but they're also saying comparison is we have 0 civilian personnel on our staff. We should have probably 3. And as you can see, there's a chart that included in there, but basically the key takeaway from that page without reading the chart and looking at the numbers, our city is below the state average for officers per population, below the national average of officers per population, and below the average of officers per population compared to similar sized cities across the nation, not just our state. So my suggestion is we should follow the guidance of our residents and government bodies set forth in the master plan. We should not allow ourselves to have lower staffing than similar sized cities. Our residents deserve the best police protection we can provide. And I believe that is with an additional police officer. So we know that y'all are financial people. And so the financial impacts of hiring an additional officer, we've broken down into two categories: the initial cost, and then the reoccurring costs. Again, some of these numbers are dependent upon whether we hire somebody that has previous experience or whether they're straight out of the academy. That will make a big difference on their salary. Of course, benefits, whether they have certificate pay or medical pay. So those numbers in the top four can fluctuate just a little bit, depending on whether, again, if we hired somebody with previous experience or not. And then, of course, the financial impacts related to the promotion are there as well. But initial cost of a new officer is $160,000, give or take some change based on price of equipment, inflation. It changes every day. And then, of course, the recurring cost for a new officer is, about $77,000. And again, that changes again based on qualifications or experience. And then, of course, certificates that they have. And then, of course, the promotion comes out to $1,573 and I include benefits in there because I know benefits is a big thing too. So I tried to include benefits best I could. The future plans of the department. So our future plans are going to continue to seek civilian personnel for the public face at the Public Safety Center. That's still a need. Now, what that looks like with an additional police officer, things change. We go into what that looks like because the job duties may not be the same as what we were trying to seek as an office manager. And then along with that, maybe explore part-time funding for either civilian personnel or additional part-time funding for an actual sworn officer to do that. The plan is for probably realistically, I'm going to try for the 24-25 fiscal year to seek 2 additional police officers through grant funds. I'm not sure if the grant is open for that or not this year. We'll have to see. And of course, we're not sure that, that's taking a roll of the dice to see if we're going to get it or not. If not, then of course we would seek boosting the future personnel through budgetary process. And then the future plans will be promote qualified personnel for the rank structure would fit our person. Like I said, if we hire an additional personnel, the future plans would be, to have a supervisor over each shift instead of one that floats between the two, and kind of change the rank structure that way. Again, that's future depending on hiring of additional personnel. The one thing that I want to point out is that we do our best to do what we can with the personnel that we have. Again, we are drowning in administrative work, and as days go on, everything gets more complicated. Officers take additional time to handle calls for service. It's a roller coaster ride. Calls for service may go down, but investigation work may go up, and vice versa. Calls for service may increase, and investigation work may go down. It's always a roller coaster ride with that and our arrests. And so I want to point out that again, we're short, and I compared about 10 other law enforcement agencies around us, and I stopped at 10, but there's plenty more, plus or minus a few hundred of our population, and acquired their rank structure, their number of personnel, and even cities that are very smaller than us. When I say very smaller, like thousands of population smaller, have a little bit more officers than we do, and so we need to go ahead and try and boost that. So my request would be for y'all to strongly consider that and make a discussion and a decision in the February council.
We're going to put that on the agenda, I think, for next month, I believe. So we will look at that. I don't think anybody disputes that you need the personnel. It's just a matter of us trying to find a place to get the funds.
Matt, so we
Yeah.
asked the same question with Taryn. How long does it take, like, if you were like, today, if we said, yes, you could go do it, and obviously we can't, because that wasn't an agenda item, but how long would it take?
Yeah, so our last two full-time hires, again, one with experience and one without experience, one with being 6 years of experience. It took us 4 months to find, since the time that that position was open, it took us 4 months to find them and actually make the decision to hire them. That's, again, from the time the posting to the time that we said, yay, we're going to hire them. That's 4 months. There's additional training that goes into after that the state requires us. It's field training. That changes a lot depending on experience. Generally, a person with experience, with years of experience, will still see about 2 to 3 months of field training for our department. We take field training very seriously. A lot of departments and agencies will, about it after a couple of weeks, they'll hand you the keys and a map. And well, back in the day, it was a map. Now it's a phone. Hand you keys and a map and say, here you go, and slap you on the back and say, I'm going home to eat supper. We're not like that anymore. And we pride ourselves on taking our field training seriously. Again, we are a fishbowl. We try and keep as many fish and I relate to fish as my guys. I try and keep them in the fishbowl. The fishbowl's nice. The more people I can keep, the less I have to keep coming back and saying, hey, we need to hire more people. It provides the best protection. But on that token, we do know that officers will eventually expand. This is not a forever place for each of our officers. We try and make it the best we can. But knowing that it's not a forever place for everybody, it keeps us looking for experienced officers, and that field training process is a little bit longer. So when they do go somewhere, we can pride ourselves on, yes, they came from us, and no, they are not likely to be anybody you don't want. They're somebody you want.
Quality.
Yep, they're very qualified and quality, and so with that, like I said, that also provides the best protection to our residents as long as we keep them here. But yeah, so full-time, so looking at this and looking at today's market for police officers, unfortunately, nobody really wants to be a police officer. We are competing with larger agencies who have sign-on bonuses. I mean, we all have each city has their own unique way of come to us, come work for us. And we all have that, but we don't have the luxury of providing sign-on bonuses and higher salaries such as Belton, Temple, and Killeen, Harker Heights. So we have to work with what we get. So realistically, looking at the current market for a police officer, we're probably saying from the day you tell me, if you told me today that I could hire or put a posting and hire somebody, I probably wouldn't have them hired and on the street for probably 8 months.
Okay, thank you, Matt. We appreciate it.
Quick
Very,
question.
very informative, and we'll see it again next month.
I have a quick question about,
We'll bring it up here, and we'll bring it up to a vote so we can get something done. But we appreciate it. Any questions? Do you have a Matt?
yeah, I had a quick question. You have, I know they have over 100,000 miles each.
Yeah,
You have
okay.
2 unassigned vehicles.
Yes.
Is there any way to reduce that $70,000 vehicle cost somehow with trade-ins or however we could get that cost down a little bit? And I
Yeah.
know it's a one-time cost, so it's not the
Right.
ongoing, but-
Yeah, so to elaborate on what those 2 unassigned vehicles are, so in we call them unassigned, and they are technically unassigned, but they are currently right now, Sergeant Hodge is driving one while his vehicle's at the shop getting repainted. And they have been cycling through 3 officers while we've been repainting the newest Ford Explorers to black. So they're used for, but when an officer goes down, their vehicle goes down and it's in the shop, they have that vehicle. We do have 2 of them. So right now, when Corporal Vigero comes in to do his desk duty and patrol and bailiff and court responsibilities, he uses one of those. So each time we have a reserve officer, like I said, we're trying to build that reserve officer pool as well. And the more we build that, the more they have to have a vehicle too. And of course, the more people we can put out on the street for our residents, the better. But yes, there are 2 vehicles, and could there possibly be some way of figuring out that to offset costs, of course. There's always ways. We just have to sit down and make sure that we're not undercutting our reserve ability to come out and jump in a car and go.
Right.
We pride that in them being there. When a reserve officer comes in, we pride our department on being solo officers. So you don't have to be stuck in a passenger seat. You go out there and you do what you do and take care of business.
Is
And
there any life left in the administrative?
so Shane left. It's a little too early. So Shane also has one of our old vehicles as well. Again, they're all the same, practically the same year model Tahoes. Let's just say they're on their last legs.
Well, okay.
And the reason
Thought I'd
that's
ask.
the reason these are keeping pretty good is because they don't get used daily, and they don't get very very much on the, like I said, with the reserve officer, and then maybe when an officer cars go down, or have to go in the shop or whatnot for any reason. But that's what's keeping those two alive so far. But otherwise, they'd probably be the administration and a fire department battalion chief vehicle. Yeah, they're on their last leg. At least those two are anyway.
Thank you.
We appreciate it very much, Matt. Thank you very much.
Huh?
Okay, going on to a regular agenda now. Discuss and consider, to have a resolution to accept Resolution 2024-01 to appoint Greg Wiseman as Director of, to a two-year term to Planning and Zoning. Do I hear a motion to accept that?
I think it's to EDC.
EDC.
Oh, excuse me, EDC, I'm sorry. Did I say betting is, I'm sorry, EDC.
Yeah, I'll motion to adopt Resolution 2024-01, appointing Mr. Wiseman to the EDC.
In a second.
I second.
Any discussion on that? I don't think he's here today, is he? Oh, there, oh, I didn't see back to behind Hartman. Yeah. Well, stand up so everybody sees you. Congratulations, I guess. There you go. Appreciate it. Appreciate you volunteering. Thank you very much. Next thing on the agenda is, well, we talked to the road study. Do y'all want to go over that again?
No, let's do it again, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was the vote.
No, we didn't
Sorry.
vote. I had the motion.
Oh, we need to vote on EDC. All in favor?
We're going to the roads.
Aye.
Oh,
Any opposed? You're no, you're waiting, congratulations.
All right.
What are you gonna do on the road study?
Yeah, we have to open for discussion.
But we're not voting on it, are we?
If there's a motion.
Okay, I thought we talked about earlier.
To allow me to sign.
Oh, okay, okay. Do I hear a motion to accept, discuss, and consider the road study?
I move to discuss and consider road study.
Okay, in a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, that
Fast today.
we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have Alfonso present to us again. Okay.
So, yeah, if Alfonso can come back up, but really, while he's walking up, the reason this is on here is at the last meeting, you took action to have our engineering firm adjust our master service agreement or use that to move forward with the road study. Really what we're looking for here is to have the council authorize me to work with our engineer to get that process moving forward. So we're not held up waiting on another council meeting, especially since they will be managing this project for us.
Right, so we're essentially going to be an extension of staff, not to say that we aren't already as your city engineer, but we'll be managing that project with ARA as the consultant, and then basically authorizing Orion to execute a task order from our existing master service agreement with the city.
What we'll need is a motion to allow our interim city manager, Ryan, to be able to negotiate with.
Can we put a value on it? Can we say less than 50,000 or?
You can put a cap on it if you want.
You, Ryan?
It came in as right under 50.
Just under 50.
And I would like to say there, of course, will be administrative fees that are associated with that. So I would say not to exceed 55 or 60.
60's fine. I just want to put an amount on it so that we understand what we're
Okay.
committing to. Okay. So did somebody already make a motion? So I would like to make a motion that we authorize our interim city manager to negotiate with our city engineer to enter into a road study contract with Applied Research Associates not to exceed $60,000.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is discuss and consider interim city manager services. They are due again, so we need to, I think we have decided to extend them. Is that what y'all want to do?
You want to open for discussion? I'll make a
open
motion
for a
to open
motion,
for
yeah.
discussion.
Second.
Rox, she seconded it. I don't know why I'm jumping.
Okay.
Do it.
Now it's open for
That tea.
discussion.
So we did talk about this at the workshop, and we had two proposals, one from Clear Career on interim services and one to extend the SITCOG current agreement until May 15th. And we had a good, I think, healthy discussion on sticking with what we've got, and that you, Ryan, would be, or the interim city manager would be helping us with the search for the city manager. And so hopefully the timing will coincide, and maybe with the transition period.
Do you want to put a date on it, or do we want to put it, we need to put it at the far
They
enough?
put a date on it. They said May 15th.
Okay, yeah, yes.
I'm just quoting their date.
Yeah.
So, anybody else want to make any other comment or discussion, or?
I think in the workshop, we did discuss that we wanted to have at least that first audit done before hiring a city manager.
This is just strictly for
Right.
interim city manager
Right.
services now, nothing else.
And so,
Yeah.
because of that, we
Yeah.
felt like we could go forward to hire, because I think those audits will be ready on time.
Okay, a motion's been made, and what date did you put on, Dorothy? I didn't.
SITCOG put the date that they're extending their current agreement to include May 15th, 2024.
Okay.
And it'll be an additional $50,000 and a little extension of Ryan's time each week. And
Right.
does plan to be at City Hall physically a little bit more. But we've been getting significant services from the SITCOG with their current.
And there has been a second made, did you do that second?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we
Oh, I
accept.
thought you made that motion.
I thought we were discussing, I'm sorry.
I second that motion.
You want me to make it?
Yeah, or I'll make it.
You make
Someone
it.
make it.
You make it. Go ahead.
Motion to continue the agreement with the SITCOG.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
And thank you, and thank you.
Okay, next item on there is discuss and consider designation of two, I think we said two council people. That'd be liaisons with, SITCOG.
Yeah, let's do
What?
the recruiting process.
The city management recruitment.
Oh, I didn't see that, okay. Sorry, discuss
That
and
for
consider city
discussion.
manager recruitment process.
Stephen, go. Open for discussion.
Open for discussion.
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion?
I'll cover it real quick, just for our audience members that were not here, real quick. So basically, the two proposals on the board are from sorry about the feedback, Clear Career Professionals and SITCOG. What we discussed in the workshop was essentially leaning more towards Clear Career Professionals, simply because if we went with SITCOG, that's going to overtask Ryan and Jim Reed. So we did get a presentation from Clear Career. It sounds like they have everything we're looking for. Pretty pleased with that personally. So if there's no additional discussion, I would make a motion to accept Clear Career Professionals.
No, second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now in relation to that, we need two salespeople. Yeah, we'll need two of our council people to act as liaisons in relation to that, so.
Well, in our discussion, I'll move that we discuss this.
Okay,
in our discussion, we asked around the room, and both Dorothy and Jomo Snyder would be willing and able to serve as liaisons, so I would make a motion, we accept them as the liaisons.
I will second that motion.
Any further discussion on that?
I just want to point out, for the record, that a couple residents said, well, we don't want two council people deciding on our city manager, we want the whole council. So just to clarify, these two people are just to make it a little easier for Clear Career, a point of contact. And nothing, no decisions will be made by Jimbo.
The entire council will be involved in a decision.
The entire process.
In a public forum.
In a public forum, and everything will be done in open meetings, and they do plan to have a meeting with the residents as one of their first items on the agenda to get resident input on city manager. So we'll let you know when that's going to happen.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Ryan, you're gonna need to help me on this one right here. Discuss and consider extending the SITCOG interlocal agreement for planning services.
Okay, so last year, the COG entered into an agreement with the city to provide planning staff support. While we were doing that, we were approached to modify that ILA to include grant management services as that position was eliminated. This fell through the timeline somehow. What you have in front of you is an amended ILA that should have expired December 31st. This will take it through December 2024, and it includes $30,000 up to, not to exceed $30,000 for planning activities and $30,000 for grant management activities, which is researching grants and things like that. And Carrie can probably speak better than me, but we barely charged anything to the planning services grant that whole first year that we did it, because we just come in, we help the P&Z move forward with what they need to, as well as look at ordinances and give our planning opinion on those.
This is services that are well planned and well funded and well accepted.
It's a good
Good
value,
job on that.
absolutely. Yeah. And we only get charged for what we
Right,
use.
what we use.
This isn't a fixed fee.
And it's not something that's new, it's something we've done for years. So.
The grant is new. The grant piece is new.
Do I hear a motion to accept, extending the SITCOG ILA planning services?
I move to extend the ILA with SITCOG for planning and grants.
And using
Maximum
the-
of 60,000 through December of 2024.
Okay, yes, yes, I'm glad you put the amount on it. A
Okay.
second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Discuss and consider establishing speed limits in the city that differ from the text dot established prima facie limits.
Okay, that's me.
That's you.
This is not really a discuss and consider. This is more of just me providing an update, because I know we've had some citizen concern on speed limits in certain areas. I went back and forth a little bit with Neil on what that looks like. He did advise that council could take action, correct me if I speak wrong, Neil, to lower speed limits to 25 miles an hour. We do not fall on what is considered the state highway infrastructure, except for one or two of our roads. All the others fall into that purview of the council can take action to lower the limit to 25 miles an hour. But like I said, that's just a discussion item, and really to let the public know that we're still engaged in investigating the possibility of lowering some of these speed limits, especially where we know there's been some concern.
So we still aren't clear on exactly the process and which roads yet. We've just started.
So, right, we're not clear on the roads, but Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, but the council would just have to take action to designate the speed limit, and it goes into effect once the speed limit sign has been erected on that roadway.
Okay, so no traffic studies, no, okay.
Lower it to 25 miles, from 30, the front face speed limit in urban areas is 30 miles an hour. We congratulate you last time, gave you authority to be able to it to 25 without having to do a traffic study. Just a matter of identifying what roads from where to where, and then passing an ordinance that establishes a 25-mile speed limit on, and we've got to be specific on what roads and the extent of those roads. And then you've got to post a new traffic sign. But it's a matter of the city can do it, city council can do it through an ordinance without having to have a traffic study. Anything lower than 25.
Okay. Well, the process of identifying the roads that need speed limit evaluation, Matt should, but I mean, as far as a recommendation from staff, on which roads they would like us to consider. I know we've gotten some input from residents. So is that something, Matt, that you could give us some input on as far as the roads that maybe have concern?
I think maybe Matt and I could even work together to
Perfect.
provide maybe some of what we've heard and then some, staff opinion. Ultimately, it's up to the council to make the decision.
Okay, I'm just looking for the next steps, that we have something to
Maybe
discuss.
at the February
It's
meeting.
just on the agenda. I mean, it's on the table, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Look at.
If you get it wrong, can you go back up?
You lower it, you can change it, you can.
Go back from 25 to 30? Okay.
How do you know you got it wrong?
Well, residents complain,
Oh.
so if they complain, they have to go down.
Okay, moving right along.
February agenda on that one.
I'd like to hear a motion to accept Resolution 2024.02. It's for the interlocal mutual aid agreement for fire services, which we do this with the county, right?
So this is new, and I've actually been in discussions with Neil on this. You should have a printed copy of the actual ILA. What was included in your packet was a resolution authorizing me to sign the ILA. This is the first time Morgan's Point Resort has been included in this interlocal agreement. This is this has in the past been done between all of the paid departments in Bell County. They have now looped in Morgan's Point Resort as well as all of the other departments that are part of the county. In sharing this with Neil and discussing it with him, there is one area of concern, and that is the, I believe, section Part 2, liability and indemnity. The city cannot enter into an agreement where they sign for indemnity. So I've been talking with Neil, and the action tonight would be, my request would be to authorize me to sign this once I've coordinated with Temple Legal and any others on any verbiage changes that need to be made according to our legal advice. I do have a call into the city of Temple's attorney. I'm hoping she'll call me back so we can get some clarification. And I think it only actually says the word indemnity one time. I don't even know that it's mentioned the rest of the way in there, but.
That's the title, yeah.
So Neil provided me some guidance on some attorney general rulings from the past. So like I said, my ask would be to authorize me to sign it via resolution once I've got everything worked out with Neil where it falls within our legal.
Now, this is a new agreement.
This is a new agreement.
However, we've been operating under something.
We
do share.
We do have a standalone agreement with Temple as well. This is different from that.
What about Moody and Moffett and?
No.
So that's a gentleman's agreement?
Right. That's all just statewide mutual aid agreement.
Okay.
This really solidifies the Bell County
And this.
consortium.
And the cost associated with doing this?
The only cost associated with this at this point in time would be if, say, the city of Temple was called out here and they had to use specific chemicals or, and it's in there, it's very small, payment.
3.1.
3.1, yeah, for any chemical agent or supplies used. We wouldn't be charged for any man hours, any apparatus, any of those things. Just really, I think the intent, and that's just me, is possibly chemical or hazardous materials type incidents.
Okay. And so we don't get reimbursed for anything that we assist with?
We would only get reimbursed if our department used our chemicals or anything.
Nothing on the labor, yeah.
Do I hear a motion to accept 2024-02 for mutual aid agreement to allow Urian to sign for the city of Morgan's Point?
Yes, sir. Motion to accept resolution 2024.02 with the mentioned changes, Urian's ability to sign once those changes are made.
In a second?
I'll second that.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, city manager, now you're on the hook.
All right. Let's see here.
Got some city manager updates, so we'll let him start and take it from there. We'll.
Was there one in the packet?
See one.
You have it.
Yeah, there's one. No, I always provide this afterward.
Okay.
In case there are questions, so.
Oh, okay, got it.
Right, so I'll read this.
It was the minutes one was in there, because that confused me at first too.
You would have, I mean, I've got the list of it if you want it.
No,
Just ask him about
I'll just listen, I'll
Yeah,
just listen.
I typically don't provide this prior to council, and really it's a formality. I could, but I wouldn't have it ready in the time the packet goes out. As always, this memo acts as a high-level summary for your informational purposes. If you need any additional information, please let me know. Personnel-wise, the communication and marketing manager, that position is still vacant. We are finalizing up the job description for that position that we discussed at a previous meeting, and I anticipate that'll be finalized by the end of the week, and hopefully we'll post that next week so we can get a new communications staff support, communications coordinator and staff support person in that position. Fiscal issues, which are everybody's favorite. We're still working with the audit firm like I discussed earlier so that we can get a timely receipt of the audits. At this time, we expect the first audit end of January, beginning to mid-February, with the following audit April, May, and then the 23 audit following that. At the February council meeting, we will be bringing budget amendments to the council that will reflect changes in areas of the budget that need to be brought in line with actual and additional expected expenses from the time that the budget was adopted, such as the fund view or any of those budget changes that may need to be made, as well as possibly the police department staffing. Any budget amendments that need to be brought, we anticipate bringing those back in February. If there's something that's on your mind that you want to make sure that we've captured, please share that with me.
What about the generators? Are they going to be this year budget, or did they get put into last year's? The generators that were supposed to be covered by grant, yeah.
I don't.
If they're
Still part
not,
of- It's still part of our capital budget, so yeah, then if we want to go ahead and make it a budget amendment that includes all the capital outlay this year, that's not a part of just the, M&O budget, we can. But so, we didn't budget for it, so we were just paying the cash when they billed us. So obviously, we can go back and say, in this year's budget, we know what we're gonna spend, we can add it to the budget, because it has not been budgeted for.
okay, that's the only thing that pops into my brain.
Well, I mean, we'll have
Audit stuff.
I have a list of 10 of them,
Okay.
but I mean, because like even the city manager's salary will get reappropriated to basically consulting, because in theory, he's not a W-2 employee. So then we'll have a list of them. So if you want to get with me, I can share what I have.
When you have them, sure, I'd love to see them, thanks.
As referenced, and here we go, in prior updates, the generator that was previously purchased under the auspice that the city had been approved to move forward with the purchase and installation of the generators, and if the city were awarded the grant, these costs would be reimbursed, was inaccurate. At this time, the city should not expect grant funding for the completed tasks or any other tasks associated with the generator purchases and installation. At the last update, we were at step 12 in the process. I have recently received authorization back into the TDM grant system to view the grants, and we are still at step 12. After receiving access, Carrie and I did have a meeting with TDM. We're advised that our application had been submitted to FEMA for review and approval. They also advised us that they had made a request through TDM headquarters in Austin to get a rush put on our application. I have also contacted Grady Bourne, the legislative director for Congressman Carter, and requested an appointment to discuss my concerns, and I'm waiting a response. Ultimately, though, it appears that NPR will not be eligible for any funding, even if these grants are approved, as all work started prior to the grant being awarded. So even though we were going to take and possibly hold off on the one we had already spent $80,000 on, because we've already started the process, the grant is null and void. We are not eligible.
But we haven't done anything on the 80,000.
It's, if we just moved forward, we did
Discussed it, that's what counts?
No, we paid a little.
we made a payment.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Public Safety
Yeah.
Center.
But that's where I think he's going to mention. But I mean, we've been at
Oh.
step 12 for
Right.
over a year.
Over a year.
Right.
If
We
this,
may or may not get it awarded anyway.
Right.
So
if this is the final ruling that we can't, we will discuss potential alternatives so we do not lose all the funding that was applied for. Miscellaneous, authorization has been given to restart work that was previously stopped, where the cave opening was discovered during construction at the cliffs at Lake Belton Phase 2. Our engineer received a mitigation plan from the project engineer and developer. The owner and future buyers should be notified of implemented mitigation, implemented mitigation plan and the existing karst formation for all future transactions. That's part of their mitigation plan that they sent forward. Alfonso and I worked together on this. And as you may have seen in the news, the Bell County Commissioners Court recently approved the Bell County judge to enter into an ILA with Morgan's Point Resort for the collection and disbursement of funds for short-term rentals. The proposed ILA has been sent to our legal. Neil has indicated that we need to ensure the dates on this are correct, but he had no real other comments on that. Unfortunately, that came in, I was kind of caught off guard. I know Carrie had spoken to somebody at Bell County. We just weren't sure it was moving through the process like that. So we haven't brought that forward to discuss until we've cleaned all that up. So we have an actual ILA that looks good for the council.
but it's at no cost to the city.
Right. At this point, it looks like there will be no cost. In subsequent years, there could potentially be a cost associated with software, sharing the software that the county is going to use. But that'll all be hashed out prior to us bringing it back, hopefully in February. We are also moving forward with the development of the evacuation plan for the city. Currently, we're waiting on the hazard mitigation plan that's being developed in concert with SITCOG, so we can utilize information from this plan as appropriate. We are also going to start scheduling a couple courses through TEACS for key staff and elected officials. These courses will provide insight into the evacuation plan. And following those trainings, we will draft a plan for adoption. But the trainings will be held in late March, April timeframe. So we are still moving forward with that. It's just not a really rapid process. Staff we continue to meet with Colliers Engineering on the comprehensive plan. At this time, we are reviewing documentation they have drafted. And the next steps will follow the draft schedule that I have listed. And I'll just read it out loud for everybody. January 15th through the 26th, the draft comprehensive plan should be delivered to staff, which is Carrie, Becky, Camille, and myself. I will then be sending that out to all department heads to get their feedback on that. And then January 30th or February 1st, the steering committee is supposed to meet to go over the plan as well. February 1st through 7th, Colliers will be integrating any steering committee comments into the draft plan. February 13th, they will be presenting at the council to provide an overview and draft plan for the council. February 13th through the 21st, they'll be incorporating any council comments. February 27th, the plan will be, a draft plan will be provided to planning and zoning. The week of February 27th through March 6th, They'll be incorporating the Planning and Zoning Committee comments. March 7th,
You're gonna send this to us.
yeah, I will send it. March 8th through 22nd, we'll have a 15-day public comment period. And then March 14th or 21st, we'll have a drop-in open house hosted by the steering committee from 5 to 7. March 26th, the plan will be provided to the P&Z for a public hearing and recommendation. And then April 9th, we anticipate having it city council adoption. So we are moving forward, just not as fast as we had hoped. And then the last thing I have,
Can I just
Yeah.
interject on that? We will be doing a marketing brochure for the city manager position and, really to market our city to candidates out there. And it would be helpful, maybe if Jimbo and I could get some excerpts from.
I think I can share probably the draft with you when I send it out to the
Okay.
department.
And then certainly the whole council can approve, what is going to go in that. But I would like definitely get it, I don't want to hold up the city manager process to wait till it comes to us in our February meeting. Okay.
And I'll share that when I do department heads.
Okay.
That way you're not just looking at 2 to 3 months of this huge document.
Yeah, and I understand it's not our
So-
time to comment, but it would be there's some great information in there. That way we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Yeah.
And then, of course, in December, we met to discuss strategic priorities. I did speak with Alicia, and it appears we should have the draft of the plan for consideration and feedback toward the beginning of February, so probably the February meeting.
Great.
That is all I have unless there are any questions for me.
Is there any, we're right along on the agenda. Is there any item that y'all would like to see on a future agenda that we have not already talked about? You know that if you do, you can still call me, as long as we got 72 hours. And based on that then, and city council comments, so.
Well, I had just one thing and this just popped up when I was looking at something, but on June 13th, at that council meeting, we postponed evaluating video conferencing at our meetings for 6 months, which would be about, now. So I'm not saying next month, but I don't want to lose that. So for future agendas,
Okay.
I would like, okay.
Okay, council comments, you want to start, Stephen, you want to start?
I think we're powering ahead, and we're all doing the best we can, and we're thankful that you guys are here, and thankful for people who are watching, and we'll carry on.
Dorothy?
Yeah, ditto. Thanks for coming, and we are making progress. I know it's slow. It's really slow for me. So I'm trying to be as patient as I can. But yeah, thanks for coming and thanks for participating.
Jimbo?
Cold snap next week. Be ready, be prepared. So it's going to get ugly. So just kind of batten down the hatches now. Thanks for being here as always and your support.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Thanks,
Jimbo's
everybody,
gonna be
for being
real
here.
cold
Thanks.
running next week.
Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks for all our volunteers. Thank y'all again. And y'all have a great new year, and we'll hopefully see you in February. Do I hear a
Dennis, motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, sure.
Said in second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fourth.
Aye. Motion carries. I didn't ask you, Ryan, did you want to say anything else? Okay. Well, get out of here.
You really want to go?
Get out of here. And be careful. Yeah. Be careful, Ryan. Don't exceed 120. On 130, you can do that.
Not me, not me.
Oh, do you? I always do 5 miles over the speed limit.
That's what I try to do.
But on one,
It's funny though, because I looked up the other day and I was actually doing 94 and it's 75. I guess I was just like, some vehicles you can't feel it. And some vehicles.
I was in Houston. I was holiday. I was down in Houston here last year. I wanted to see my son, and my wife was visiting.
Give me a call if you need anything. Yeah. Right.
Be right. He pulled around me, passed me, he did a magnifying. Yeah, he didn't even look at me twice. Yep, maybe just flow, go with the flow. I'm around, if you're, I'll be around this week, I'll be signing checks, so if you need something, I'll come visit with you next week.
Thursday and Friday.
Appreciate everything. Appreciate everything.
Sir?
I'll be by in the morning if you need me to sign anything.
Okay.